I can't say the name, but the criminal in the White House would not be able to keep you from going to
Jonathan, I
jail.
can't see. We can't see what
May
you're.
Good should be here today. And to her
Yeah,
family, we are saying law enforcement professionals are not the ones here in this city that would do that. But
yeah.
here's
Keeping me
the
from
last thing
enlarging
that I
it.
will say. I'm with
Yeah.
the DA, and we will work with them. If any of them want to come in this city and commit a crime, you will not be able to hide. Nobody will wish you off. You don't want this smoke, because we will bring it to you. And the
What?
fake, whatever they call them, because I can't say the name, but the criminal in the White House would not be able to keep you from going to
Oh,
jail.
oh, oh. No, they didn't just
Yeah,
call the president a criminal in the White House, did they? No,
yeah.
no, no.
That's exactly what they did.
Wow.
Um, and
Wow.
so today they were talking on Fox News. Donald Trump is getting ready to call for the Insurrection Act.
Yay.
Between this law enforcement agency that was just talking, then you have um, Tampon Tim, of course, out there in Minnesota, and the mayor of Minnesota, and several other cities as well. That's totally telling people to these mayors and people are telling people to get in the way of ICE. You know, create havoc, do whatever they got to do,
Mm-hmm.
and that's nothing but a complete insurrection. What they're doing, and they're basically calling on violence. That's what they're doing.
Yes, completely.
Um,
Yes.
last um, last night we had another border patrol agent attacked, and they
I heard that. Yes.
ended up beating him with a shovel. He's in a intensive care now. He was lucky to even get a shot off and shot the guy in the leg. But they did take all of them into custody. These were all legals, and but other than that, this ICE agent is not in a good way right now.
Wow.
And he's got some. My understanding, I think he's got some brain bleeding on top of
Oh
everything.
no.
Where the guy took a shovel and hit the ICE agent upside the head. Um,
So the people that were interceding were they or trying to interrupt and stop him because I'd heard that they were going after a person that had quite a long list of
yep.
issues. So the people that came in to try to intercede with the shovel and everything, were they illegals as well, or were they some paid protesters? Do
No,
we know?
those were all. They were all illegals, actually.
Okay. Okay.
Is what I'm understanding.
Okay.
So I guess they were chasing. They were originally chasing the one suspect who was an
Mhm.
illegal. That they were after him. He ended up crashing his vehicle, fled into this building.
The illegal did, yes. The
Yeah,
illegal they
yeah,
were chasing, yes.
right. And then these other people came out and got involved, and that's where they started to assault the ICE agent as well. And again, um, the mayor out there in Minnesota and everybody's sitting there blaming it all on the ICE agent.
Yeah.
And,
No.
um, versus, putting the blame where the blame should be at,
Hmm.
and that's what their neglect to their city, to their community, where they're not protecting the citizens, let alone our ICE agents.
Right.
So basically, our ICE agents are on their own. They can definitely not count on law enforcement out there because law enforcement's turning their back to our ICE agents.
Well, as shown by that person that was just speaking before you and I started chatting here.
Oh, exactly.
Well, well, and so now isn't it where our ICE agents are having to stay at military bases because of the craziness that people are following them and doxing them at the hotels?
My understanding, that's what they're going to be doing. Um, because right now, our ICE agents are being tracked, they're being followed everywhere they go,
Yeah.
um, and there's really no safe space for any of them out there in Minnesota.
Right.
And then now, yesterday, on top of everything, they were slicing the ICE agents' vehicle tires.
I heard that. Yep. Yep. That's,
and you know, of course, law enforcement ain't going to do anything about it because they support the illegals,
mm-hmm.
you know, and they support the mayor and the governor.
Right.
So, you know, quite
Yeah.
frankly, you know,
Talk about following illegal orders.
oh, 100%.
Hello, Minneapolis popos.
Yep.
You know.
So you know, we'll see what happens from here. You know, I think if Trump does declare the insurrection like they're talking, you
Mm-hmm.
know, I believe he needs to go after the mayor out there and the governor as well, and or have them arrested for calling upon an insurrection.
Mm-hmm.
They're promoting it. That's what they're doing. They're
Right.
promoting hate, promoting crime, you know, and they're basically trying to protect, aid and abet, you know, these fugitives. You know,
Well, and that's where I have been struggling with the concept of Tampon Tim trying to say that he's going to call in the National Guard. No, you're not.
yeah.
We're going to pick you up for being an idiot first.
But you know, Julie, I hate to say it, but maybe the National Guard out there might even be just as corrupt. I mean, those are local people that
Mhm.
support the mayor. They support, you know, the tampon Tim, and maybe
Well,
that's why maybe Tim felt he could call on this because he knows this. And so I'm really curious at seeing what direction this all ends up going at the end of the day.
right,
Because at this point in time, I don't even know if we can trust the National Guard out there.
right.
Um,
Well,
so, so a lot of things remain to be seen.
right,
So you know, and so if it all does take play, if they are ready to start making mass arrests, you know, I'm just wanting to, you know, I want to see that the National Guard turn around and goes against his order and says no.
right,
You know,
right,
we're not going to intervene on this. As a matter of fact, we're going to help the government arrest you.
right, right.
You know, so
I'd like to see that too.
yeah. So you got some stuff you want to share this morning, Julie?
I do. So I found this very, very interesting. It is talking about property taxes and when it in tied to real estate, of course. And so these two gentlemen, I thought, are having a wonderful conversation, very enlightening about what property tax is and breaking it down for us. And President Trump, well, I'll just show you what
All right.
President said. Let's see. I got to find that sharing button first. Here we go. All right. Share there. Okay.
All right. Let
And
me add it to the
then,
screen.
can you see it?
There you go.
Okay. And here we go.
And he said that in 2025, but President Trump says he wants no more property taxes across the United States. Let me show you guys the statistics on why abolishing property taxes is so important. Here's data from a data provider called Property Radar. They don't even have everything, but this is showing you guys that they're roughly analyzing 156 million properties. Now that includes buildings. It's not just residential. Now of that amount, right now, okay, minimum, they don't even have all the data. There's 4.37 million homeowners or property owners that are currently delinquent on their property taxes, inheriting massive fees, making it even more difficult to catch up on the unjust burden of property taxes. 4.37 million people, and it adversely affects senior citizens that have their house paid off. Property taxes is so regressive because it creates a situation to where we can never escape the matrix. We can never escape the government. We can never really own the roof over our head. How is that not the most regressive tax in history? Comment below, haters. Tell me how that is not the most regressive tax. You see it on your screen. These people are suffering. We need to stop it. It is the root of all evil. And another root of all evil is massive, massive egos. And because of massive egos, the politicians have failed us In every single way, when we have asked them and pleaded with them to come to the table, we have the math, uniform state sales tax, enact. We've reached out to politicians. They don't care about us. All they care about is using property taxes as propaganda to get elected. Literally, it doesn't matter if you're a Republican or Democrat. They have talking points to get elected. Property taxes is almost the #1 talking point. They are using the things that hurt us the most to get elected. They get elected and they just join the party's flow. That's all they're doing. It's tyranny. It's sedition. It needs to stop before more people get hurt. Mitch, can you explain the debauchery here, the debt here? Can you explain the root of the problem? And can you explain why it was such a mistake to change the term life, liberty, and the pursuit of property to the pursuit of happiness? Happiness, property, property, happiness. Sir, take it away.
Pursuit of property is pursuit of capitalism. It's got nothing to do with happiness, right? Capitalism is what has supplied a roof over the head of virtually every person that's got a roof on the planet. It's capitalism that drives it. Socialism exists for the sole purpose to transfer your money into the pockets of socialists. And yeah, there are socialists on both sides of the aisle. We have to call it what it is in order to reframe the argument. With regard to what Vivek was saying, that comes into this whole topic. I'm not convinced he understands the depth of the problem. And that is the problem. So if this administration, which I believe they do, and Vivek really wanted to permanently fix affordability, the only approach is to drain the leverage and the fraud from the system. And in order to do that, you would require the GSEs, Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, to only buy and or guarantee mortgages with 20% plus down payments, 80% loan to value, or repeal all property tax in favor of the uniform state sales tax. That eliminates the fraudulent overvaluation and the overtaxation. You limit all low equity loans, no serial cash out refis. You simply take these things off the table. We're not, as a country, going to invest in this nonsense. Remember, the goal is to permanently fix affordability. And you bring prices to what the median household income can sustain. And that's a 40% devaluation of property values. Do you realize that in 5 years, property values across the United States are up 100%? So ask yourself this question: what happened in the last 5 years to drive my property values up 100%? The answer is nothing. It's fraud. Why was that fraud occurring? It occurred as a direct result of the school district bond fraud. They did not pay off their bonds. They rolled them out. They rolled the interest rates up. Then on almost an annual basis, they increased the demand for bonds. You're paying compound cumulative fraud on top of compound cumulative fraud, and it's non-ending. It's got nothing to do with the value of your property, zero. It has zero to do with the law, which requires uniform standards of professional appraisal practice, zero. It is pure fraud. It is a Ponzi scheme put upon the nation by virtue of the school districts and the central appraisal districts that are the co-conspirators in a criminal conspiracy to defraud. We have spelled all this out in excruciating detail. It's been delivered to the DOJ, the FBI, the SEC, the attorney generals. It's everywhere. Millions of views in the last 120 days alone, millions. People understand what's going on here. I'm not so sure that the politicians yet get it. And the same thing applies to the judges. And we're going to touch on that in a few minutes. The point of the matter is, Vivek is a smart guy. I'm not sure based on that speech that he understands the depth of the problem. The problem is institutionalized systemic moral hazard because they surround the wagons to protect the criminals, be it the central appraisal districts and the school districts. When they surround the wagons, they, the judges that support them, create the institutionalized systemic moral hazard. And that is what has driven your values up by 100% in 5 years. Just to get back to where we were 5 years ago, is a 50% devaluation of property values. To get in the hunt is a 40% devaluation. The fraud has done this. Those who supported the fraud, transferring your money from your pocket and equity stripping off of your mortgage and your amortization into their pocket, those are socialists. And as I've said, socialism, President Trump, should be codified into the US Constitution as illegal. The answer to the question, President Trump, repeal all property tax in favor of the uniform state sales tax and knock the pins of the bowling alley down.
I will have no choice but to say that he is the best president.
I can't hear you, Julie.
All right, there we go. Sorry.
That's all right.
I had no idea how tied the education system that Trump is also trying to bring down was tied to the property taxes. Hello, looky there.
Yep.
So yeah, so they've been frauding us this whole time, and he has a valid point. Why is it everyone's property taxes went up 100% in the last 5 years? Because of those education bonds.
Right.
So I found that very interesting.
Does this mean we're all going to be entitled to a gigantic refund?
Well, I sure would think so. As much as they've stolen everything that's been taken from us, let's talk about some retribution here, people.
Yeah.
Right? These politicians, man, and the lawmakers and the ones creating all of this messy mess. Yeah, we the people, there should probably be some retribution for sure for how much they've been stealing from us.
Well, yeah. Well, Julie, it's funny that they're talking about this because I'll tell you what, I knew a real nice retired couple out in Oregon, but they were on, the retirement was not that great of a retirement. Right. As far as what they had coming in, because they were always self-employed, pretty much always self-employed. So their retirement was not what it would be for a lot of people. And they just kept raising their property taxes. It finally got to a point to where they're paying I think it was over $4,000 a year just from property tax.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
And it got to a point to where they ended up having to just sell their home. Because then they got another notice saying it was going to go up to $5,000 and some odd dollars. Yeah. So, and they just said, well, can't afford this anymore.
Yeah.
So really what it comes out to is we never truly own our properties.
Correct.
The way it's designed.
That's correct.
Because if you don't pay for your taxes, I guarantee you, they're just going to take it from you.
Right. And that is because we have been acting under contract law. They think as in the county or the assessor's office or whoever you pay your taxes to, think that they own that little plot of land underneath your house. And that's what they're putting the tax of you on. So what I found really curious about these two guys is they were saying that our original Constitution was supposed to be the pursuit of property. Have you heard this before? Not the pursuit of happiness?
Nope.
I had not heard that before. So I'd like to research that a little more.
So life, liberty, and the pursuit of property.
Property.
Very interesting.
Yes. So if anybody can help us decipher that a little more and dig into that, I'd like to learn more myself.
And what's President Trump exactly saying about all this?
Well, at the start of that, he talked about ending property tax for everyone.
Right.
And so that's where these guys are saying, yes, do that and replace it with the uniform state sales tax.
Okay.
So.
But what happens if you don't pay your uniform state sales tax? Can they still take your property?
I would hope that changes that whole setup.
Right.
I don't know. But because, well, it has to, because the gentleman was saying that the property taxes have gone up even though nothing has changed to a person's property, right? It's gone up 100%, let's say. Well, with the uniform state sales tax, it sounds like you're only going to be taxed on whatever is there for the amount, the level of the house. So if the house is $250,000 worth that, and you haven't done any updates, you haven't done any changes, then it's going to stay at that 250,000. But I don't know. So that's, yeah, I'm no financial guru at all.
The way it's set up right now, if you don't pay your taxes, it's not the federal government that takes it; it's the county.
It's a county, correct?
So
Yes.
That's why I was asking. What happens if you don't pay this other tax? Then, if this goes into play, can they still come back on you and say, "Well, guess what? We're still taking your property."
Well, and I think that's where I feel like that's where it has to be like an executive order to halt all of that. Again, it's at 40 and 50%. I mean, the amount of taxation that we Americans are under is a completely astronomical number that should not be allowed. And we should totally be throwing the tea in the ocean at this point.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm all for abolishing the property tax. I think it. Again, I think every American that has worked their butts off to get what they've gotten in life, I think you should be entitled to own that land without, having someone over over you always to where you can lose it. I think that should be able to be passed down from generation to generation, and without having the government ever intervening or the
Right.
counties.
And what you're talking about there is a person and a country being sovereign.
Right. So I think something like that needs to come into play as well. I think that would be good.
Yeah.
Um, so and so the question is, what's Trump doing to see that this happens? Has there been anything said that says he is actually going to move forward with this, or
Well, that's where these guys say that they have got some information in front of the FBI, the DOJ, the DO, whoever else they mentioned in that skit there. Um, yeah. So I think that's something that we could definitely look into and follow up with.
so? I'm wondering if this kind of has something to do with like what Trump's been talking about, trying to possibly abolish the IRS.
Yes, the IR. Yes,
I wonder if this is fitting in the same category as what.
I would think so, because what we found is that all of this taxation has been illegal. The whole
Sure.
concept of the IRS, I've seen many documentaries that take tax agents, IRS agents who were challenged with show me the code that requires US citizens to pay income tax.
Right.
And so these agents thought, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. They searched for 5 years, couldn't find it. Why? It's not there. There is no requirement for any US citizen to pay income tax through the IRS. It has just been set up by, again, the elites, the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, all of these folks that at the same time they threw in the Federal Reserve, they brought in income tax. Okay. So the IRS. So this continues to be an illegal entity. And so once we get the tariffs going, then this is where I believe President Trump can install the external revenue service, because then that's the tariffs. Then that's everybody else paying what we used to have to pay. We debt slaves, right? Again, voluntary. these income taxes have been voluntary. And I know everybody's like, yeah, but they'll throw you in jail. Yeah, but not all of us, you know, and again, you can't get blood from a turnip. So, right? Yeah.
Well, like I said, I'm really curious to see what direction Trump takes with this.
Mm-hmm.
If he's going to pursue this, or if this is hopefully it don't get swept under the rug. I'd like to see, I'd like to see him try to get it done.
Well, and I believe see, to me, that is restoring the republic, right?
Oh,
The United
100%.
States is not a democracy. It never has been. Democracy is socialism. Okay, folks, let's get that through our heads. Democracy is socialism. We are a republic, always have been, until we were taken over and turned into a corporation many moons ago. So what I comprehend is that corporation is now completely bankrupt. And we've got these, $372 trillion worth of debt, supposedly, to the corporation of the United States, not to we, the people, under the constitutional law. So things are so dicey right now. Things are just so ripe for interpretation on so many different levels.
Right.
So it just depends on the filter that we choose to look through and have the conversations about. But there's just so much going on so many different levels as he dismantles, what's not working, and what hasn't been working has been the education system. Why? Because the education system has also been the propaganda arm of the Democratic National people, and it's been a hot mess to push their agenda, to break down the family, to put males into female sports, right? And that whole transgender agenda, what people I think don't comprehend too is that is Satanism. There is a religion called Satanism, and these people believe that they believe in someone also called Baphomet. And Baphomet has both genders. And so what we see within the Hollyweird community are most of these folks are taking their young ones and turning them into the opposite sex, okay? They have to do that per their religion. All right, basically. Now, here's what I've also learned about their religion. When they are in ritual, they stand 6 feet apart and they wear masks. And what has been going on since 2020? What did they have us do? Stand 6 feet apart and wear masks. And I said this, no, you ain't. And I am not going to participate in your satanic ritual globally. And so I didn't. So that's my little breakdown of what we just all went through.
Well, Julie, if they actually do try to get this passed where we're not paying property tax, I think the Democrats probably ought to jump right on board with that one, since they seem to think everything should be free anyways. Because this right here is an unjustified, like I said, the American people never truly own their homes.
Right.
And if you get in a bind where you can't afford to pay your taxes for a couple of years or whatever may happen, they just take it all from you. It doesn't matter if you paid on it for 30 years. They don't give a damn.
Nope.
So, this would be a good thing if Trump can get it to pass through.
I believe so too. Yeah. So if we can get a message to him, apparently the information's there. We've just got to, get it through. So.
Yeah. And then, but my question is this going to be something that's going to have to get passed through Congress, or is this something that the FBI and all these guys can intervene on, because it's been illegal from day one anyways?
Well, and so that, I think, that's a great question, and the answer lies within the filter of which Trump is proceeding. Is he proceeding under the Constitution, fully and restoring the public? Or is he honoring the contract law, which is the corporation, the bankrupt corporation?
Right.
I think his aspect of draining the swamp is flushing the corporation of the United States.
Yeah.
So again, it depends on the filter of the law that we want to look through. And then let's just tack in UCMJ, Uniform Code of Military Justice. If he calls for Insurrection Act, then whoop, all bets are off, right?
Yeah.
So a lot could happen in a very short amount of time.
Well, with the amount of death threats, like I said, we keep getting tons and tons of death threats on our ICE agents and Border Patrol. Then
and our civilian reporters and our
Yeah,
civilian
yeah.
citizen reporters.
Well, by the way, I got some death threats last night after I did a broadcast, calling out on bullshit in my broadcast last night. And I grant my language wasn't exactly the nicest, but at the same time,
That's when people know you're speaking the truth when you swear it through,
Well, yeah, but I still try to watch my mouth, and at times, like last night, I was really heated about all the bullshit going on about how nothing's being done. We're not seeing arrests. Here you got the Clintons. They just got done
completely defying. Yeah, completely defying. Yep.
Totally defying, Congress.
Yep.
And they're subpoenaed to appear.
Mm-hmm.
Now they got to take it before a vote to see what they're going to do with them over this. It's like, whoa. If that was
picked everybody else up on the other side of the aisle. What is the problem with getting these two picked up?
Well, exactly. And again,
I guess their shit don't stink.
It truly makes me feel they are above the law because they've got something. They've got something on these guys for these guys not to take further action because they've done this in the past as well.
Well, and you would think that the Democrats would go too. Why? Let's talk about Epstein. They're hollering about the whole Epstein this, Epstein that. But all of a sudden, since we can't find the negative file of Trump within the Epstein files, then everybody shut the hell up, right?
Well, there is a small handful of Democrats that want them to appear as well. Very small, but there's a few of the Democrats. That one guy that keeps going against his own party. What's his name?
The Fetterman.
Fetterman, yeah. Fetterman wants them to have to appear. But again, they just basically said, blow it out your ear. We're not showing up.
Mm-hmm.
And they keep making up every excuse in the book and for why they're not going to show.
Yeah.
That's kind of like you or I. If we try to think that we're just not going to appear in court, if we've been subpoenaed, chances are they're going to put a warrant out for us.
Right.
So, still fighting this congestion. I'm all plugged up. Everything in the book. I've been taking a lot of mentholatum cough drops, trying to clear this up, and it's just like a congestion that's just really hard to get out. My eyes have been all watering. I think a lot of it is sinuses, is what I think it is. Because right now, we've had what I consider a pretty warm winter here.
Right.
And just a lot of things are even. I've got some actual plants starting to bud already.
Oh wow! Wow. So, well, have you looked into using colloidal silver for any aspect of trying to get better?
Never heard of it.
All right, you might research the colloidal silver. It's pretty powerful. And I would also, if you're taking any amount of ivermectin, I would double it up.
Yeah. Well, I've been taking ivermectin, and again, I'm not. I thought I was catching a cold or something, but it's not a cold. It's just my sinuses.
Yeah, it's probably allergies.
Like I said, I'm just all congested. My eyes have been watering. Been sneezing a lot. So it tells me, that's my sinuses. But at the same time, it's just like trying to get this crap out of my lungs.
Yeah, that's
You
no
know,
fun.
just trying to clear everything out. It's been unreal.
Mhm.
So I think there's a lot of things that Donald Trump has really got in the works that, kind of like I said in the past, you know, for all these guys that have turned their backs on Trump, it's like I think they've turned their backs way too soon. Um,
Mhm.
it's like every time you think you know what Trump is up to, he throws us for a loop, and then all of a sudden, surprise.
Right, surprise.
And he has been doing so much good for our economy, for our gas prices, our food's coming down in the stores. He's not taking any kind of crap from any countries that are basically death to America, like Iran is one. Um,
Mhm.
and now he's not. You know, I got a feeling he is going to do the Insurrection Act. I really do. Especially after that announcement. One thing I found about Trump, if he says he's going to do something, normally it's just a matter of time. It's going to happen.
All right. When he'll drop it and
Yeah,
then nobody will pick up on it until later and go, well, he did say that about 3 weeks ago.
yeah. And but I think the biggest thing that we need to focus on as patriots out here, I think we need to focus on standing strong, standing together, and standing with our president and see where this goes. You don't just throw in the towel because you think, so to speak, you think you know what he's doing, and you think he's against and actually pulling a bunch of shit on us patriots,
Mhm.
because a lot of the shit that people were saying was shit that he's doing. It's turned to 360, and he's showing a whole different side of what he's really getting done. Um, so that's why I tell people you've got to be patient, and again, you got to remind yourself he's only been, we're almost at that year mark. I think what,
Mhm.
the 20th of this month, is that
August.
right?
Yep. 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 Well,
So
yeah.
coming
Isn't
right,
is it well? And isn't that the no kings whatever thing they're
yeah,
going to do
that
next?
that's why they're holding it on that day, by the way,
Yeah.
and they actually said that's why they're holding it. So
Cute.
you know, the 20th will make 1 year, and look what he's done. He's completely turned the country around. He got our $5 a gallon gas prices down to, in a lot of areas.
234 in the Kansas City metro area.
And I'm getting reports in other areas where it's like $1.89 now.
Nice.
And so, it's not like he's not getting the job done, folks.
Right. Right.
He might not be doing everything that you 100% agree with, but you know what? Imagine what it would be like if we were under the Clinton administration, if we were
Oh
under
no.
the Biden
No.
administration,
Yeah.
or
No.
Tampon Tim and good
Yeah.
old Commie Harris would have taken control.
No, dude, we'd be in FEMA camps and or beheaded by
Yeah,
now. I mean,
well,
you know,
yeah, I
just
guarantee you, Julie, they would have had mass arrests on even our president. They would have
mhm,
arrested him.
yeah.
Um, and I think the only thing that kept Donald Trump out of going to prison was because he got elected.
Hmm.
Because I guarantee you,
Rightfully, yeah. Well,
yeah,
and again, I'll say this. I'll go back to the whole 2016. So these machines have been used for a very long time in our country. And they had these machines set to a certain percentage that when people would vote, it would flip their vote. Okay.
yep,
And they had it set to a certain percentage for Hillary, but they did not anticipate the number of people that actually supported Trump, and it threw off their algorithm, thus showing properly that President Trump did win, okay, in
right,
2016. And they'd never expected her to lose. So it's curious that right now she's refusing to come in. and be interviewed along with her husband. It's curious that we're coming up on just some amazing anniversaries, right?
Right.
And yeah, I'm very excited to see. I would love to see that Insurrection Act be installed the same day that we do the lovely Kings, whatever they're doing. Don't purchase anything at 2 p.m. Whatever the hell they're doing, I don't even know.
Right.
But here's what I am hearing: the anti-ICE folks are very, very coordinated when it comes to different parts in Minneapolis, it sounds like.
Yeah.
So they were at one part of town making a mess, and then they heard about the shooting at the other part of town with the ICE agent, and so they moved people over there. So again, paid protesters, not organic, but organic people are going to wind up getting pulled into it and wind up doing some prison time because
That's right.
they're idiots and they're not using common sense. You do not interfere with any type of anything going on. Stay out of the way. There's other ways to go find people, but
Yeah.
this is the way to do it.
So all you guys out here in Mojave County, Arizona, I just want to announce this. So they're going to be protesting down here by the train depot here on the 20th. So I'm doing a call for patriots to get involved, pick up some whistles, and let's go down there and put some whistles noise in their ears. Give them a little taste of their medicine, and let's go protest these bastards being in our community. And
Mm-hmm.
I really hope I don't have to be a one man show down there doing this, but you know what? I am going down, and I am doing this.
There you
And
go.
this is my state, my country, and you know what? I'm not going to have a bunch of commies come in here and keep trying to create nothing but hate and division.
Right. Right. Yep.
The hell with them. And I mean, that's how I truly feel. The hell with them.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I, I'd like to see patriots all around this country organized. I know it's kind of spur of the moment. We're already what are we at, the 15th? So
Yep.
you got 5 days to organize this. Get it planned out. So when they do their walkout and go out and do their protesting on the 20th, you know, I'd love to see thousands of patriots go right back and protest right at their damn events. Fly our flag, buy your whistles, blow some whistles in these protesters' ears, give them a taste of what they've been giving our ICE agents.
Yes.
Can you imagine trying to work in that environment, having people constantly just blowing whistles, foghorns? I mean, you name it, right in your ears.
No.
I mean, it makes me wonder how many of these guys are going to end up with severe, ear damage and everything else trying to do their
Absolutely.
job. Because
Absolutely.
I
Yep.
guarantee you they're not wearing the earplugs and stuff because they've got to be able to hear everything in their surroundings of what's
Right.
going on around them.
Right.
But at the same time, your ears can only handle so many decibels.
Exactly. Yeah.
And once it exceeds a certain point, I guarantee you're going to have some ear damage. Guarantee
Right.
it.
Yep. Agreed.
So, anyways, I guess we can help contribute to their ear damage and just go down and just blow the crap out of our whistles right in their ears. Kind of give them a taste of their own medicine.
Right.
Because.
Well, I got a prop. I'll start here.
There you go.
There we go.
Well, I did pick up a whistle, so they were I think they're like $2 on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And it came in, and I'll tell you what, the damn thing blows pretty loud.
And I think right now they probably have whistles at like the dollar store for St. Patrick's Day or something,
But I'm going to go ahead and go on down. I'm going to take my big Bluetooth speaker, play some patriotic music down there.
There you go. Yeah.
And
God bless
make
the
sure,
USA.
yeah, make sure we're playing Ice Ice Baby. And other than that, I'm going to dish it right back at these Democrats the way they keep doing with our ICE agents. So I'll make sure the noise is made.
There you go.
So, and
Good plan.
so hopefully they don't decide to arrest me for disturbing their little protest.
Yeah.
Well, you never know nowadays, I'll tell you.
So I saw something that I thought was really, really cool in these Muslim communities where they're doing their prayer thing 5 times a day. Patriots are showing up and singing the national anthem at the same time.
Well, you know what they really ought to do, Julie? I like the part that they're doing the national anthem. They ought to show up every day at the same time, put some big, fat, juicy burgers and steaks on the freaking grill right there. You know, just let the aroma just fill the air for them. And on top of the patriotic music, you know.
I could put a pig up there, man. Come on, get some pork going.
Yeah, get yourself a nice big pig and put a big pit right there where they can spin that pig around so they can watch it cook.
Exactly.
You know, and, I think that would be I think that'd be a nice thing to be doing. Kansas
City's known for his barbecue, so come on down. We got all different flavors of barbecue.
Yeah, but I'll take the Kansas City barbecue right on out there as well.
That's right. That's what I mean.
yeah, you might make a fortune.
But man, I heard there's now like 67 mosques in Texas somewhere.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
What the hell? People, you got to learn about Sharia law and that we have been infiltrated, and this will not stand. We cannot allow this infiltration. It's happened already, and we need to get these people out, which is why I am so supportive of if people are found to be stealing and in the fraud business, stealing from the United States taxpayers and in the fraud business, and you're from another country, I don't care if you're a naturalized citizen or not, boom, gone, bye.
Yep. Well, you're
going to Gitmo and or back to your country and or hung for fraud and treason and all of the other shit.
Right. Well, the meeting that we just had here recently over Lake Havasu, kind of find out, and I'm trying to get more intel on this, but the Muslims bought property over by Lake Havasu for supposedly putting in a large cemetery. Now explain to me why they would want to have a large cemetery put in.
What do they do with their dead? I don't even know. Do they? That's worth looking into. That's worth looking into. Do they even require a cemetery?
That's a good question. Who knows? It might just leave them out to skeletons.
I'm just saying. I mean, the extremists, if they're supposed to cut us up into tiny pieces and all of this other stuff. So what do they do with their dead? I don't even know. I don't know what their ritual is.
No.
So, wow.
Well, talk about cutting people up. I guess over there in Iran, they were actually beheading the protesters.
Wow.
Trying to make an example out of these protesters over there. And these protesters are actually standing with our president.
Yeah.
They're actually cheering, Trump, Trump, Trump. USA.
Yeah.
And they're all for us going in and wiping out that regime.
Yes.
That's what these protesters are actually saying in interviews. And, so, a lot of people don't realize it's kind of like America. We could be another Iran if you think about it.
Oh, sure. Yeah. We're right on the edge. Yes.
We're right on the edge, just like Iran, of seeing a big mass rebellion.
Mm-hmm.
where these people, but the difference in it is these people don't stand for truth or justice. These people want death to America. You know,
Yes.
that they want our country on its knees is what these Democrats want. I
Yes.
mean, who on God's earth, Julie, would sit there and defend child molesters, rapists, murderers? How
If
can you even? How can you even possibly be okay with that?
I am so not okay with that. And in my mind, it takes a mentally unstable person and or an abuser themselves in some capacity or narcissist or whatever. Um, they're not mentally well. They are just not mentally well.
Right.
So,
Let's see. Nope, that's my meeting coming up. Let me
all
know.
right.
Okay, hold on a second. Okay. Told him give me 8 minutes. So, anyways, I want to make sure we don't have any comments or questions today. Uh, let's see. David Wade says behind the bulge. Okay. Um, anybody else making comments? I'm not sure why it doesn't show my YouTube comments on here though.
That's weird.
I always have to look into YouTube. Um, but like I said, there's just a lot of things right now. I think that Donald Trump is in the process of getting done. I do believe he's going to do this insurrection now
Hmm.
because he doesn't just mention it without, I think, proper things getting ready to take place.
Yeah.
Um, and
Again, and I'm going to go back to him telling Hegseth to have our military ready, prepped in a
yeah,
30-day time frame for civil unrest.
well, let's hear
I
it.
think he's been ready for this for a while. So, and I want to say their drop dead date to be ready was either January 20th or the 1st of February. I can't recall which,
Right.
but they've
Well,
been working on it anyway.
yeah.
So,
But you know what? I think maybe part of Trump's reason for waiting, possibly, is because he wanted to see how many other corrupt cities would be right there on board with Tampon Tim, you
right,
know, and just like that woman that was speaking this morning, telling people, I think that was out in Pennsylvania, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was Pennsylvania. That it, you know, they'll start arresting ICE agents as well. Um, so
right.
I think Trump's been slowly but surely letting them put themselves in the trap, and
Well, and he also had to allow the Clinton timeline to run out as well and
yeah,
show that they're acting like they're above the law and
yeah.
can't be, held to the same accountability as the rest of us. So, yeah, we're going to find out that Clinton Foundation was not a good thing. And yeah, I'm excited to see what it reveals.
Well, you know, in some ways, I'm excited to see what these 4 years bring. Um, you know, I like
Me
to.
too.
You know, I'm really praying for this country. I'm praying that Donald Trump can really get it cleaned up and
Yep.
get back to law and order,
Yep.
and start making some real large mass arrests out there because we know the corrupt ones all around the country, and the ones that we didn't know were corrupt have been showing their true colors coming
Yes.
out. I
Well,
mean,
give them
just
enough rope and they hang themselves.
well, that's it. I mean, you look at all the Republicans that recently just sided with the Democrats in a
Mm-hmm.
vote
Yep.
there in Congress,
Yep.
and you know it was quite clear he was in the swamp.
Yes.
Um, and
They're
but like I
really
said,
revealing themselves. That's one thing I so admire about President Trump, and where I have used the term brilliant more times than I've ever used it in my life, just for how he sort of pulls those people that are so corrupt out into the spotlight. And again, put a spotlight on them and they blow themselves up. So it's like 5D chess or something. I don't know. But I
We
was going to
still have
say
a,
this. So I'm going to add this for how we're all going to be in the golden age when we get rid of this property tax and this IRS. We're all going to be experiencing the golden age.
well, there you go. Well, all I need is my crown for my head.
Right. I forgot to leave you one when I saw you back in Arizona. I've got like 5 of them. So I leave them with different friends and we get together and wear a little golden age crown.
King John, Big Bad John. Yep. But yeah, I'll tell you though, like I said, I think part of me is just really excited to see what happens over the next 3 years. I think, you know, I think Trump
I'll
really
take the next 3 months at this point. I mean, I think if he pulls that switch, man, let's go. I mean, we're ready. I think the Patriots were overdue, and I will say this, share this with everybody. If you're watching and you know what's going on, help others around you that don't. Because there's still a lot of our friends and family that are listening to the mainstream propaganda and they're not going to have a clue. So we have to be the calmness and explain in more detail. But we're going to be the community leaders that keep the people calm and, from doing silly things. So, yeah.
Well, and then now, like I brought up in the other day's broadcast, now we got our churches teaching the old people how to protest, how to just
How to intervene into ICE.
intervene with
Yes.
ICE, the whole
Yes.
9 yards,
Yeah.
how to basically
Not
become a
cool.
roadblock on them, and
No.
these are our churches.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and this is where the senior citizens really need to ask themselves, is that a Jesus thing to do? No, it's not. So,
and don't tell us, folks, that well, the Jesus thing would Jesus would allow them all to be here, because even God destroyed his enemies and said leave no survivors.
right.
So don't give me the BS that God is okay with child molesters molesting our children and these murderers raping and murdering our women and
Yeah.
and our children and then
Right.
murdering them.
And remember, it was the tax tables in front of the temples that Jesus was flipping over. And he was
Amen.
whipping the tax guys with the whip that he sat there and put together all day. He was just observing, observing, and observing. And when he finally hit his wall, he got up and was just whipping them all over the place. And I think that's what we're getting ready to see happen to the IRS.
Yeah. Well, I'm also definitely about the kind of person that believes in the eye for an eye.
Yeah.
And,
Well, and that's sovereign law. That is constitutional, right?
well, I think it was also written in the Bible for a reason.
Exactly.
Know,
Exactly. Yep.
if you're going to harm our women and children, 10 times fold right back at you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not that I'm promoting violence.
No.
But
No. But just that there is consequences for our actions,
yeah.
right?
Well,
So.
one last thing, and I'll bring it up one more time. I mean, here, look at that. God, I had her name. I was going to share that today. The gal that came on the news about her family member getting killed by the illegals and everything. It just came out, and she's like, "How can these Democrats be so non-compassionate?"
Mm-hmm.
That when they basically swept her story under the rug. Here's the gal that gets murdered, as the Democrats call it, murdered
Murder,
when it was self-defense.
right?
Here they did a GoFundMe. They had to shut the GoFundMe page down because it was getting so much coming in. So and and they did a GoFundMe too, and they barely got any kind of donations at all.
Right.
You know, it's like the media tried to hide that. You know,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
it was all about promoting a GoFundMe for a person that was trying to severely injure our ICE agents.
Yes. She
That was
considered herself
nonsense.
an ice warrior. Come on.
An ICE warrior, yeah,
Come on.
exactly. How about Charlie Kirk?
Right.
Where they're out here at these protests, sitting there putting daubs of ketchup or whatever on their neck, and go,
Which which her profile had as well.
yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, this is the kind of crap right here. How about Charlie Kirk's wife? She loses her husband. The children have to see their dad go.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can only imagine the trauma those kids are going through.
Yeah.
But the Democrats don't care about, the
No.
loss of life of a good Christian man that was out promoting God all the time, talking about Jesus,
Yep.
trying to get some, daylight in their lives versus all evilness.
Right.
Um, but instead, what did they do? They promote his death. Um,
Yep.
so, so just kind of shows you, yeah, we can't always blame it all on the media either. We can blame this on just pure evilness, and
Oh,
that's what the Democrats
absolutely.
are.
And that really, Jonathan, that's what this war has been. It has
Yeah,
been a war between good and evil. And, for me, I've had my awakening in 2020 of really learning how wicked the overall picture globally has been in the disappearance of our children
yeah,
and what's been happening with them. And evil exists big time. The devil has been on this planet and it's been disgusting. I think we're going to learn some more things we're going to lose some people through this insurrection. And I think the way that we're going to lose some people through this insurrection is because it's going to break their hearts.
yeah. Well, and you know what? Here's the other thing. Talking about children and stuff. You look at all the children that came through our borders. They don't even know where 90% of these children are now.
90% missing.
Missing. Have no
Un-
idea. They have no idea where they're at. Anything
yep.
else.
Yep.
Then take a look at the amount of American children as well that are missing. That
Yeah.
to this day they have no idea at all where these children
Yep.
are.
Yep.
And I think if I think once they end up finding where all the illegal children are, I think they're going to find a lot of American children too. Hate to
Mhm.
say that.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're going to.
And I think that knowledge is what's going to break our hearts.
Yeah, but that's where I'll be saying definitely an eye for an eye. So this isn't even about us, Julie. This is about our children and our grandchildren in the future
Completely.
in the future of this country. So
Yep. Yep.
and looks like by God that was my phone call that was coming through. So I do have to,
Okay.
and it is 11:04, so my time. So we're gonna have to end this
Rock and
broadcast. I'm
roll.
gonna have this conference. God bless you guys. Thanks for joining in today, and we'll be alive again 10 a.m. Mountain Time, 9 Pacific tomorrow.
Yep.
And hope you guys can tune in tomorrow. So, all right.
Have
God
a
bless.
good